Welcome to the Take Care Sis podcast with me, Ki, and Kiki.
Join two friends for a conversation around self-care in real life. We'll talk about anything on the spectrum from bubble baths to setting boundaries to managing friendships and more.
As your sisters, we also just want to provide a weekly check-in. You know, like big sis asking little sis, sis, you good? So come on in, sis. Let's talk about how we can take better care of ourselves.
Hey, Ki.
What's up, Kiki?
How are you?
Girl, I need a drink.
You and me both.
Listen, and not to offend people that don't drink and are on sobriety schedules. But yeah, this week has been, listen, I only worked 2 days and it's still been a lot. So.
I worked 4 and it's still been a lot.
I'm
over it.
But I'm drinking your AHA water.
Your AHA water?
Wait, you don't no, you like that. Let's move on because you like LaCroix.
We already had that debate.
No, we're not going there again tonight. All right. So Kiki, how are you? And how was your week?
I am okay. The week has been okay. Like I said last week, I'm just trying to get myself accustomed to waking up on time to actually go into work. I'm not happy about it. I'm really not happy about it, y'all. I am not.
It's written literally all over her face.
I'm not happy about it. But, I talked to some coworkers and they are just excited to go back, I guess, because of the schedule. And I understand that because we've been off of this regular schedule. Like, I can tell that my schedule's off, but I'm like, I don't really care to go back to work just to get it back on track. We can do it another way, just not in the office.
I see that rather large watch you're wearing. Is that smart watch that you have been looking for?
Yes, it is.
You found it.
It is. I've charged it and I am using it. Now, granted, I think I've only gotten up once today when this thing went off and said, get moving, but I'm going to get there.
Listen, your goal was to find it.
Mm-hmm.
We found it. Now we got to work on using it.
Yes. I'm gonna get there. Okay.
I listen. I'm just here to hold you accountable. And she's drinking water, y'all.
Oh yeah, I'm good on the water. We're good.
She is just checking off all the boxes today.
Most of them. How are you? How was your week?
So y'all know, I told y'all that I quit my last job, started a new job this week. I'm in orientation. So it's just all the paperwork and all the learning of how to do your new jobs, learning new lingo, new acronyms. Why do state and government entities have so many acronyms? No one can. So anyway, yeah, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. And every day I have a headache. And once again, here come my mama. What you so tired from? When I talk to her.
I didn't do nothing today.
Listen. How's your new job going, Mom? I'm tired. What you tired from?
Listen, staring in front of a computer every day, it ain't that fun, and it drains you.
She got one more time, y'all. One more time. Other than that, it's nice to be in a new space, I understand that people are putting on their pleasantries because I'm new, but so far it's nice. It's nice.
That's good.
So with it being the final day of Women's History Month, I just want to shout you out, Kiki. I think that you are super dope. You are a woman who, you know what I mean? You just do what you say you're going to do. And you're so hella creative. It's crazy. So I wanted to shout you out for Women's History Month.
See, y'all, I wasn't expecting that, so I don't know how to react.
Listen, if she cries, y'all, we're gonna end this thing right here. She's a Cancer and I can't. So we will end this podcast.
Thank you, Ki. I'm just gonna say thank you because I have to take my own advice. You know how you try to be like, quote unquote, humble sometimes. I'm just gonna say thank you, and most of the time I'm the one that has to tell people just say thank you. It's a compliment. So I'm gonna take my own advice, but thank you. And y'all know Ki is dope because she's just, to me, she's a go-getter. She does what she says she's gonna do. She's gonna get it how she says she's gonna get it. Okay? Like you're a go-getter to me. So I mean, I'm a go-getter, but we go, I think our approach is different, but
yeah.
But we both get things done.
Yeah, got to. Well, listen, y'all. So as you know, I like I said, quit my last job, started a new job because I was burnt out. And that's what we talked about last week. We talked about burnout. And we talked about some reasons for burnout and how to overcome burnout. So when we were talking about burnout, I happened to mention the phrase, the Great Resignation. So let's get into it.
Let's.
Kiki, did you know that nearly 4.4 million Americans quit their jobs just in February? That was a statistic that just got put out this Tuesday.
Wow.
And that 4.4 million people was 100,000 more people than in January. And that 4.5 million people is just shy of the 4.5 million record set in November of 2021. People's quitting their jobs, y'all.
Yes, they are. I knew it was bad, but I did. When you put those numbers in there,
right.
It's bad.
Right. Go to any restaurant and you can see people ain't working. People quit these jobs,
They're
y'all.
short-staffed everywhere.
Yep, people quit these jobs.
So last week we talked about burnout. And burnout is mostly seen at work. And that's why we mentioned the Great Resignation. A lot of people just feel like it's time for something new.
They sick of the shit.
They're what, Ki?
They sick of the shit.
You're right. Sick of the shit. They had it. They had it up to here. So today we're going to talk about the Great Resignation and boundary setting at work. And that's mainly for those of us that can't leave our jobs. We know we have various reasons why people can't leave their jobs, but if you're stuck somewhere, we're going to give you some boundaries to set.
Yeah. Some of us got really real jobs, and those, JoJo hasn't come through with the student loan forgiveness.
I wish he would. Oh my God.
Huh?
I wish he would. Oh my God.
Right. I say we just all go to Delaware and camp out at his house because you're going to come through with these student loans, JoJo. But anyway, some of us can't quit our jobs. So we want to help you guys today set some boundaries so that your current job, or maybe your current career field, maybe you're burnt out with your career just in general. But if you can't leave for one reason or another, we want to give you some coping skills. So we researched this topic with a few different articles. One was a Pew Research.com article, and it was called "Majority of Workers Who Quit a Job in 2021 Cite Low Pay, No Opportunities for Advancement, and Feeling Disrespected," as well as the, let me say this slow, CNBC, there we go, .com article, "The Great Resignation is Still in Full Swing. Here's What to Know." And finally, we went to careercontessa.com, and she gave us health. I assume it's a she, but she gave us healthy boundaries at work.
All right. So what is the Great Resignation? The Great Resignation describes the higher than normal quit rate of American workers that began in the spring of 2021 and continued into the fall as vaccination eased the severity of the COVID-19 pandemic in the US. The unemployment rate decreased and job openings increased.
The Great Resignation, also known as the Big Quit and the Great Reshuffle, they're really trying to put a positive spin on this, y'all. Really,
Yes,
people sick of shit. But anyway, the Great Resignation, the Big Quit, the Great Reshuffle is an ongoing economic trend in which employees have voluntarily resigned from their jobs en masse beginning early in 2021, primarily in the US. But y'all, for once, the United States has started a positive, a trend that I guess it's positive. I don't know. It'll probably have some negative effect, but for now it's positive. But y'all, we started it and it's gone global. It's happening everywhere now.
Yes, it is.
Kiki, tell the folks why are folks quitting their jobs, Kiki? Why are they quitting?
It is a plethora of reasons. Okay.
A plethora.
The main reason is low pay. And I say that because a lot of the lower tier jobs, if you want to say that, like restaurant jobs, fast food, all of that, nobody wants to keep working with people and having to deal with people's shit and not get paid any money.
They sick of the shit.
Same thing in retail. And even in just like corporate jobs, any job, a lot of people are just not getting paid what they're worth. These companies make millions of dollars and don't want to pay their employees, which is ridiculous.
Because I really need to holler at Delta. Like, why these flights went up so bad? I don't see these flight attendants blinging anymore. But my flights is so much more expensive. And please don't try to tell me that it's simply about the gas prices. Because I was shopping before gas went crazy. I was trying to get back to Barbados. And it's going to cost me double, almost triple what it cost me to go last summer. So Delta, you and Joe, we need to have a conversation. Sorry.
Somebody need to do something. Okay. So we're also talking about little to no advancement opportunities. So you'll see people in these jobs and you basically have nowhere to go. You're stuck in your position. There's no advancement. They're not offering any trainings. They're not offering anything, no new positions, no raises, all of these things. They all tie in together. It's just not giving us anything.
Right.
We're stagnant, y'all, stagnant.
I may or may not have had a job that just really gave you no opportunity for growth. So you got in that position and you was finna stay there for a while. Then sometimes even your superior moves out of a position and then they just bring in somebody else.
Right.
But there was no pathway for growth for the people in their various positions. So that's a big deal. I know it's a big deal for me. I hate feeling stuck. The Aries in me, I hate
right.
I don't even like feeling stuck in clothes. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on now. Go on with the next point, girl.
No, I was gonna say, me personally, I think that's where I am at my job. Like I'm so used to going to jobs and being able to like at least move, even if it's not vertically moving, but like moving horizontally across.
Yeah.
And I feel like right now the position I'm in is just kind of where I'm gonna be if I'm gonna be at this company.
Yeah. Gone are the days when somebody's trying to have that one job for 20 years. I'm not doing it.
No. Like you said your attention span, I think mine is almost the same way because I can't do it. If I don't see a future there, if I don't see any management positions, if I don't see anything that's going to change, any excitement, any new projects, it's hard to be able to stay in one place like that.
Right. Right. What else you got?
And last is the lack of work-life balance. Whew. I think a lot of corporate companies have a lack of work-life balance. And a lot of times they just put it underneath you a salary worker, so just get your work done.
Right.
So you're not getting paid overtime. You just got to get your work done. If that means you work until 7 or 8 o'clock at night, you're not gonna get paid for that. You just got to get your work done.
Right.
So that cuts into your family time, and you have none anymore.
Right. I definitely left my last job due to lack of work-life balance. But work-life balance looks a little different for me. Because I got this whole yoga thing on the side, I wasn't able to really put any effort into it. And so, you know, I wasn't teaching classes, and that was due partly to the pandemic. But as this panoramic is, you know, the world is opening back up, I need to teach again. And
Right.
I just couldn't do it at that space. So that was ultimately why I left, regardless of all the other things. Ultimately, I left because I didn't have the work-life balance that I was looking for. And just, you know, when it comes to self-care, when it comes to those type of things, you have to do what works for you. That didn't work
Right.
for me because I wasn't going to be able to teach yoga.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I had to look for something different. But there's one more reason that people are quitting. And this is a big one, y'all. People are feeling disrespected on their jobs. You know, we mentioned from the beginning that, you know, like servers in retail, those people are quitting because I've seen y'all folks. Y'all go in there and just talk to them any old kind of way.
Yes, they
And
do.
and I've been a server here in North Carolina. And when I tell you the folks just act like tipping is I had to get out of I had to get out of serving. It served its purpose when I was trying to pursue grad school, when I was taking classes. But listen, y'all treat servers like some trash. So yeah, the disrespect. And then, you know, on some of these more corporate jobs, you got these middle managers that don't know how to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Disrespectful. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Kiki, did you know that it's those employees or those people in the workforce without four-year degrees that quit at a higher rate? And they quit for reasons like the COVID vaccine requirements or lack of schedule flexibility and lack of hours. I'm going to take it back to, and not that I'm picking on y'all, because I love my servers. I love to eat. I don't like to cook. So, you know, I frequent some restaurants. So going back to, because that's where I've seen it hit the hardest. Like nowadays, I have been cooking a whole lot more because I hate to eat out now, because anything that you do, like what used to take, like you could go to lunch in 30, 45 minutes. If you had an hour, you could go somewhere, pick some food up, maybe even eat inside and still get back to the office and then not no more, not no more. So going back to my servers, lack of schedule flexibility is a big deal. And that has always been a thing. And eventually you just get sick of the shit. Because, you know, you want to do things, you want to have a life. Heaven forbid. I used to feel so horrible for the girls that I would wait tables with. I used to feel so, or bartend with. I hated for them, like the ones with kids, because it would be a whole like management meltdown for them to have to be able to have a schedule where they could pick their kids up. Or I've seen girls not get hired because they had to be off by like 2, or they had to, you know, just dumb stuff when it comes to schedule flexibility. So that's real. I didn't know so many of y'all had issues with the COVID vaccine requirement though.
So speaking of that, my the company that my stepfather retired from in this past year, and he retired just in time because it was a mess. They were starting to require their employees to get the vaccine. And a lot of people were like, no, I'm not getting it. And then like the people that actually stayed and got the vaccine, they found out, like, I feel like it was either a couple of weeks or a month later that it wasn't required anymore.
What?
And so like people quit, and then people got the vaccine that didn't really want to get it but needed to keep their jobs.
Right.
So it was a big mess. And I just saw it all over my social media, because a lot of the people back home, my hometown, they actually work at this place. So
That's
I was
right.
like, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
That's crazy. But um yeah, that one surprised me. That one surprised me. Or maybe it didn't. Kiki, did you know that people of color quit at a higher rate for reasons such people of color quit at a higher rate than the term in the article is non-white and white. I'm gonna go with people of color. Did you know that people of color quit at a higher rate for reasons such as lack of flexibility, they wanted to relocate to a new area, not enough hours, and once again, the COVID vaccine requirements. And then finally, it was younger adults and those people with lower incomes who were more likely to quit in 2021. So they were the highest percentage of folks that quit. The highest percentage of folks that quit in 2021 were people with low incomes and younger adults. I think that kind of speaks for itself, considering the reasons have been lack of schedule flexibility, not enough hours, COVID vax requirements. That makes sense.
Yeah. So for the most part, workers who quit a job last year and are now employed somewhere else see their current work situation as an improvement over their most recent job. At least half of these workers say that compared with their last job, they are now earning more money, they have more opportunities for advancement, they have an easier time balancing work and family responsibilities, and have more flexibility to choose when they put in their work hours.
Can I say
And
something?
Yeah.
You and I talked about this before. You and I talked about how you and I both, being, we don't have children, how we both enjoy working from home, but we know that people with kids would much rather be back in the office. And that's not for everybody, but I can tell you that some of my friends who have children, they're just like, yes, ready to go back to the office. Me, on the other hand, I'm gonna try to avoid working in the office for at least the next like 10 years.
Right.
So I'm gonna try to avoid it as possible. But that balancing work and family responsibilities, that's major. And I remember seeing in an article that this was even true and higher, like men left their jobs for lack of work-life balance. And so it's more men that are actually now getting work-life balance with these new job opportunities as opposed to before. So men folks, congratulations. Y'all stepping, not too many men listen to this podcast, but whatever. Y'all stepping up in the household, and we women appreciate it. But yeah, that's major. Super major. That's all I got.
Yeah, but you say that, and it seems like women need that work-life balance a little more.
They ain't finna yell at me. I didn't say that, y'all. Kiki said it.
I don't care.
She said what she said. Okay, go ahead.
I said what I said. For the most part, women need that work-life balance a little more. And most of the time when women apply to these jobs, they have more trouble getting them because, like we said before, they don't have the flexibility. You got kids, you got to go pick them up. What can you do?
Right. No, that is true. I will amen that one.
That's what I meant. I didn't mean that in the most sexist way possible, but in the most logical way, yes, the women, especially those who have kids, need that work-life balance a little more. And that's also for the men who actually are the primary caregivers. They need that too.
Agree.
Okay, so the Labor Department has seen the greatest drop off in low-skilled or non-degreed workers as companies are dropping degree requirements, which is very interesting.
Yes. So I went all the way to that blue school
Uh-huh.
to get a whole degree.
Mm-hmm.
Because
And
y'all
debt.
been telling folks
And
for the
debt.
last up 10 years, y'all been telling folks, oh, you got to have a 4-year degree. Now y'all just gonna remove degree requirements while I'm still paying on these good loans. JoJo, this don't make no sense, JoJo. Like, make it right.
Right. At least give up these student loans. Please take them away.
Take them away, JoJo. Take them away. All right, y'all. So that was the Great Resignation, just a summary and whatnot. But we totally understand that not everybody has the flexibility to quit their job. Y'all got real bills, or maybe you like your job, right? And you just there's a few things that you don't quite like about it. Or like me, you're new to the job. So it's time to set those boundaries. Once again, got this from careercontessa.com. And these are some suggestions to boundary setting. And she suggests that, like, if you are new to a job, you set those boundaries early, which I can wholeheartedly agree. But
Yes.
anyway, the first is assess your personal boundaries first. Like, you can't very well be telling somebody about what your boundaries are, but you don't really know what they are. So you got to recognize what's most important to you, right? Maybe you have a physical boundary. Maybe you just don't like people physically in your space. So you know that. So you know that that's a boundaries you need to set. Your boundaries are going to be based off your values and your life's priorities. So maybe one of your boundaries is, listen, the clock says we get off at 3, right? And y'all like to laugh and kiki and laugh and joke after 3. But I got kids and I got to pick them up by 4. So I'm going to go. That's my boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Any job worth having recognizes that first and foremost, it is a job, right? So your job is not supposed to be your entire life. Now, I get it. I work in the nonprofit world, and every job I go to, it's, oh, we're a family. And sometimes that flies.
That is everywhere, girl. Everywhere.
Sometimes it
Everywhere.
really does feel like a family, but that's for you to decide. It is perfectly okay to set some boundaries.
So when you set those boundaries, the next step would be to communicate them up front. So nobody will know what your boundaries are unless you communicate them to them, right? So just as you said, if you have to leave and go pick up your kids at 3 p.m. because you got to get them by 4, tell them, look, I can't stay. I got to go. I got to go pick up my kids and I'm gone. Like, most people going to understand that. They should. They shouldn't be over there trying to keep you and talk to you and have a whole conversation when you got to go.
Right.
Also, your personal space. Sometimes you're going to have to say, look, I need you to back up. Not that way, In the corporate space, they probably be like, oh my God, she is so mean. Which I hear that a lot. But
no, you hear that a lot? No, not you.
What is that face? Anyway.
Let me just go on and read the next one, which is create clear structures. Basically, so this suggestion is making sure that you're clear about the structure or the boundary itself, right? So take, for example, y'all know that my life got turned around a couple weeks ago when I took this management training, or I took this training from the management center out of DC. I've been shouted her out before, but once again, I'm gonna shout out Miss Danielle. I think that's her name. Lord, forgive me because I don't remember her name. But anyway, so she was talking about how you can use your calendar as a tool. So like you can literally put on your calendar unavailable for these 3 hours of the day because I'm doing work that I don't want to be disturbed. This is important for you people that work from home. Like, make your calendar your friend. If you work in a physical office where everybody is, that's when the good old door closes. I don't want to be disturbed. Yeah, or you tell your secretary, if you have one, hey, I need to be uninterrupted during these few hours because I'm working on something important, that type of thing. Or in management, you can build out team responsibilities. So, excuse me. Sorry, this aha got a burp, y'all. You build out those responsibilities, letting it know, let it be that being clear whose responsibility is what. So say you have a project, right? And you let them know, look, person A, that is the team lead. Person B is going to be responsible for this. Person C is going to be responsible for that. So then everyone has the clear understanding of who's responsible for what. So when there's a link in the chain or a break in the chain, you know who to go to. And they don't always have to come to you because, boom, you are not only delegating, but you are being clear in what it is that you do.
Well, so the next boundary. Stop it. So the next boundary is to keep your relationships professional. Oh, I live by this one. The article says we all love having a work wife or a work BFF, but sometimes those relationships get tricky, and they are right. Okay? Because, I mean, my view on it is like a lot of people, especially when you get around the chatty people that like to talk, and then they like to talk about everybody's business in the office. And then you get around them and you start telling your business. Guess what? Everybody's going to know it. Everybody's going to know it. And that's one of my things is like, I just don't want, I'm a very private person. Like, I don't like to have my business out there. And so like, I try to keep my relationship professional. Like, I'll talk to you here, but outside of work, I don't think it's going to be a lot of talking. Now, some of these jobs, they be like, we're family, just like you say, and they be texting on these holidays and all that stuff. And I'm like, keep it to a minimum.
Don't do that.
To a minimum.
Don't.
I'll say Merry Christmas and that's it. But don't be trying to have a whole conversation. But also, like, I just don't. I think, and I hate to say this, but like, I think it's very common for a lot of Black people, especially when you're in an office full of like non-people of color, because most of the time you just don't want to be mixing that and having to explain your own life outside of work to them. So you just kind of keep it professional at all times. And maybe I'm speaking for myself because that's what I do. I ain't trying to do all that.
I work in Black spaces for the last like a bunch of years. So
I have not.
I haven't had that experience in a while. So I can't think of anything to add at the moment.
I have not. So I still try to navigate those spaces with this mindset. Like, this is it. I might have one person that I talk to outside of work, but it has to be somebody I completely trust. And that's hard to find sometimes.
Gotcha. All right. So number 5 is delegate work when appropriate. You got to do that, right? And this is especially, did I say especially? This is especially for my women of color, in particular, Black women. If y'all don't start asking somebody for help, like, you cannot and are not expected to do it all. Like, they don't keep talking about we're teams and we're families for nothing. Like, you do not have to do it all. Like, even as a project manager, your job is to manage the project, not do it. As HR, your job is to oversee, maintain the wellness. I'm not HR. I am a project manager. I'm not HR. So I'm speculating here, but HR, like, you oversee the company, you make sure that the well-being of the company, but you too ain't got to do nobody's job. So delegate when appropriate. And I get it. Delegating is sometimes easier than, other times. But once again, back to that training that changed my life a couple weeks ago. Sis said something that I'm never, ever going to forget now. She said, for every yes, there's a no. And that blew of my mind. So like sometimes you literally got to go to either it's your coworker or maybe even in a space where you're managing up, you'd be like, if you've thank you for giving me the opportunity to work on this, but if I work on this, what is it you want to take off my plate? That's how you that's basically how you deal with anybody, whether it be your manager or your coworker, to be like, hey, I can't get this done, can you do this for me? Hey, so I have this work to get done today. What would you rather not do, or what do you want to handle for me instead? And if that's not the type of relationship that, if they can't do your job, then you just got to let them know. I will say that setting boundaries at work takes a lot of bravery. Like it really takes you owning your shit and like your yes being yes and your no being no. I'll say that. Oh, look, the next one.
Saying no. And you already kind of went through that. And that's what I was going to say is like, I know saying no, it's kind of hard sometimes, but you can always rephrase it and say, so how do you want me to reprioritize my task list? Because I have this, and this to do. And if I add this on, it's not going to get done. So especially when you're talking to, I guess, your own boss, but letting people know, like, I got all this to do. I can't add no more on right now. Or we're going to have to work some things. We're going to have to rework some schedules to actually get this done on time.
Right. The next thing, and listen, I can't stress this one enough. I know I stressed the last point enough, but I'm going to stress this one too. Take the time off. To hell with that job, right? Like, if you don't take any time for you, when you're not there, the job is going to replace you, right? Like, you may be an integral part of the team today, but I guarantee if something happened to you, or better yet, you don't do what's expected, your job will get rid of you and have you replaced in 2 weeks. Take the time off. Take the time off when you need it. That is self-care. Take the time off. I done told my new boss. I told my new boss that she needed to take some time off. What I know is, but right before I started, she had a big project. And instead of being able to take time off, because someone else had a big project on the team as well, and they got to take this week off. My boss didn't get to take this week off because she's orienting me. So I legit told her today when we was having a little one-on-one, I was like, so friend, when are you going to assign me something so that I can work on that quietly while you take a couple of days off? Because I want you to be okay. Because at the end of the day, if my boss isn't okay, then my workload isn't okay. If I have a stressed out boss, that's going to stress out my job. So I want sis to take off. I want her to take off. And that's just take the time off, y'all. I can't just take it off. Just take it off.
That's right. Set that out of office message and go about your business. Do what you gotta do. And
you that's also
nowhere.
You didn't even got to go nowhere. A staycation. No. Run errands in the middle of the day. Those are the best times to run errands. Oh my God. Have you ever had to like turn in your cable box because you switched to another cable company that you thought was better, but it's not really no better because you live in Eastern North Carolina? But anyway, when you go turn in the cable box in the middle of the day, do you know how that line just quickly passes as opposed to waiting until 5 o'clock when you be in the line around the corner? Running errands in the middle of the day, I'm trying to tell y'all, saves lives even.
I was just gonna say, like, just like you said, to delegate the task so you can take your days off, that out of office message, go ahead and delegate it to somebody else. If you need help, please send your immediate request to so-and-so at so-and-so and so. Yep. Let them handle it and go about the business. Do what you gotta do.
Cause y'all listen, there's not very many things unless you manage a government contract, and y'all are trying to establish the contract. There's not very many things that can't wait another hour or two until you finish up X, Y, and Z. There's just not, unless your job is just like that stressful. When you have these, I'm gonna say office type jobs. When you have these office type jobs, it's okay. It can wait. Most of the things really can wait. There are very few things, unless your job just really has horrible management. Very few things come up unexpected. So take the time, like, and I'm not saying take the time off. What I am saying is take your space. Like if you're one of those people that needs to work uninterrupted, tell them between 9 and 2, I don't want visitors. Don't knock on my door. And then between, after 2, you can take all the phone calls and do all the things. But yeah, if you need that time, you're more productive that way.
And the last one is using technology to help. So can you stop laughing at me? So Ki just kind of talked about uninterrupted time. That can be you blocking off a few hours on your calendar to actually do some work uninterrupted. Notify your coworkers that these are the hours that you are working on certain projects and you do not need to be bothered then. Use your calendar to kind of set up your schedule for the day so you know what's going on. And so that if anybody wants to try to put anything new on you, you're like, nope, can't do it, not today. I have a meeting at this time. And I think we talked about this offline where you were like making your calendar shareable so everyone can see what's on it. So when you're delegating tasks or trying to create your own schedule, you'll know what you have to do, or what other people have on their schedules as well, and it makes it easier to do.
Yeah, and I'll tell you guys, the Microsoft Suite, they have an amazing thing when sharing their calendars. I don't know that the Google Suite has this, but I know Microsoft. You can, when sharing your calendar with like your boss or say your teammates, you can decide to share just the title, or you can decide to just share that this time is blocked off, or you can share the details of what you're doing. And I like that so much because, say, with my boss, I might share the details of what I'm doing. But with my coworker, they only need to know that I'm unavailable from 9 to 1. I discovered that when we had the Microsoft Suite. I think that that's just super dope. Super dope. Yep. So the last one is to prepare for boundary breakers. Listen, there are people out in this whole universe. Your boundaries are going to bother them a little bit for multiple reasons. One, because they ain't did what they supposed to do, so now they need you. Or two, they want to feel like they can just monopolize your time. This goes back to those horrible middle managers. But anyway, how to prepare for boundary breakers. And I'm going to give you some examples that she used in the article, right? This one was one of my favorites. When you already have enough on your plate, you can say something like, in order to do my best on this project, I cannot take any additional projects right now. I'd be happy to help in the future, but I need a week's notice to fit additional work into my schedule. Love that one. Absolutely love that one. Per my calendar, I am in deep work from 12 to 2 today. I made my calendar public if you'd like to find space to connect later this week. And once again, that's for the people that need that time uninterrupted. Or maybe you have an appointment. I don't know, but you can use that phrase. And then definitely out of office and do not disturbs. I live by the do not disturb on my phone, on my work computer, on my chat. Because my new job, we use the chat function. Yeah. I done already told it, don't notify me unless it's a mention. So unless somebody says, at Nakia, don't. I ain't getting all the notifications. Driving me crazy all day. Nope. So those were the ways that we set boundaries on our jobs for those of us that, just can't really actually quit and join this Great Resignation. Kiki, can you relate to any of this?
To the boundaries, yes. I already told y'all.
Her face, y'all. She said what she said. She's having one of these nights. She said what she said.
I said what I said. Yes. So all of these boundaries are very relatable. But like I said, the one that I live by is like keeping those professional relationships professional. Like
Mhm.
we're not mixing and matching too many things. Like I'm good on that. Delegating tasks and taking days off. Yes, all of them.
Listen,
And don't
these
call me
people that be having
don't call me.
rollover vacation days, I don't understand that concept. Because I'm finna take my vacation.
I don't think, have I ever had rollover? I feel like I've always had the ones that just expire. So I have to take them, which is a good thing because I'm going to take them.
I've had
But
rollover like sick, but never vacation. Because I'm going to go. I'm going to be out. I'm going to be out. Mm-hmm.
And you should.
So I've already mentioned to y'all how I can relate to both the Great Resignation and setting boundaries on the job. So what I'm going to ask you guys, what I'm going to challenge you people at home is two things. Have you actually talked to the higher ups? Have you actually talked to HR? And or hold your higher ups, hold leadership accountable. The last thing these companies want is for a whole lot of people to throw dirt and, to be out in these streets looking like bad employers. They don't want that because especially with Indeeds.coms and all these other things, like a reputation of the company gets out a lot faster than say 5-10 years ago, right? And so now when you got employees that are able to publicly express, oh nah, I had to leave Burger, I ain't finna say no names, but I had to leave I had to leave hamburger spots because they wasn't flexible enough to even let me get off in time to get my child. Like, tell leadership that, right? Because they don't want to lose good people, or they don't want to consistently lose people because, they're not flexible. Now, it might not work for you and you might still have to leave, but I challenge you to at least mention it because, yeah, nobody wants these bad reputations anymore. And they might need to know that, oh my gosh, like people are leaving just because we're not flexible. And what we could do is, they get paid the big bucks. They get paid to come up with these schedules. So they can figure it out. They can figure it out. So that's what I challenge y'all to do. And I'm going to say, it's not always easy. It's not always easy to have these conversations. So I found a quote for you. Bravery is not the absence of fear. Bravery is feeling the fear, the doubt, the insecurity, and deciding that something else is more important. And you guys all have a why, right? Some of us literally are at our jobs because of the money. So it might not be easy to go to your boss and ask for that raise. But what else is more important? Because if money is your goal, then you got to chase that bag, right? And I know all of us have gone to the employment sites and seen, wait a minute, the average administrative assistant, I'm just throwing out numbers, but the median income for admin assistants is 50,000 and I'm getting 30. Oh, nah. So that's when you go to your boss or whomever you need to talk to in your organization, negotiate a higher salary. It might work for you, it might not. But if it don't,
if you want to stay there.
That's if you want to stay there, right? And it might work out for you, it might not. But I challenge you to, despite the fear, despite the doubt, go ask for that 50,000, friend. Go for it. Why not? That's it. That's all I want to say. Kiki. She said what she said earlier, y'all. She said what she said.
I just didn't want to say something that was completely opposite of that because, I don't know, you sounded so positive about it.
Well, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I don't think that a lot of the lower level jobs are going to be like, oh, we're going to give you more of this. And they're probably not even thinking about like why people are leaving. They're just going to go and hire somebody else really quickly and just make sure that they have their production continuing to flow, I guess.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, I don't know.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
I don't know if that makes it easier for them to do that.
No, it makes sense. So once upon a time, I was working at a restaurant, and I joined the crew when the restaurant had just opened. So it was a hot new restaurant in town. Everybody wanted to eat there. Everybody wanted to work there, right? And so in the beginning, the managers were like hella strict, like, oh, you can't work 2 to 2. We can't hire you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward 6 months, when they not the hottest spot, something else then opened up, and everybody's hearing about these crazy work hours. They had to change. And I feel like we're in a position right now where employers have to change. Like, I'm hearing so many stories about how like fast food workers are being given health insurance, or they're being paid, livable wages. So they're getting more than just I don't know if y'all know, but in North Carolina, service industry, or your waitresses and waiters, $2.13 an hour plus tips. But now, since the pandemic, you legit got restaurants out here being like, we'll pay y'all $7.25. Now, $7.25 still ain't shit. Ain't nobody paying rent on $7.25. But when you're getting $7.25 plus tips, that's pretty decent. Yeah. So it's a give and take. Like I said, it's not going to work 100% of the time, and some people aren't going to care. But that's where the Great Resignation came in. When they couldn't meet your demands, you may have to go, because there's always something else more important.
Right. So we want to hear from y'all. What are some boundaries that you have had to set on your job?
We want to know.
Or did you leave a job for any of the reasons that we explained today?
We want to know.
We want to know. So like I said before, if you're listening on Spotify, you can answer the question. If you scroll down from the description just a little bit, there's going to be a question there. You can hit reply, and we will look at your answers, and we want to hear from y'all. And we want to know. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Take Care Sis Pod. Right? And where can they find you, Ki?
You can find me on the Instagrams at yoga_with_Ki. No, I'm not saying my website today. I'm not. Nope. I mess it up no. I'll tell y'all next week.
Okay. And y'all can find me almost everywhere as This Curvy Yogi. That's curvy with an I, not a Y. And don't forget to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell her friend
and her mama
about this part. And they mama.
Right, because mamas need to know to stop saying, why are you so tired after working all day? Because I got a job that I sit behind a computer. Like, stop. So yeah, y'all need to tell your moms now, because y'all mom might know my mama, and then somebody will tell her. Because if I got to tell her one more time.
Somebody tell Ki's mama. Don't forget to share the podcast, y'all. Tell your friends, share it in your group chats, share it on your pages and your stories, all of those good things, because that's how we get our community to grow.
Right.
And we're going to start requesting y'all to do something for us, because we're trying to grow our community. I need y'all to go over to Apple Podcasts and to Spotify and go ahead and rate this podcast. We need some 5-star reviews. 5 stars, okay? 5 stars.
Please,
Spotify is easy.
5-star chicks too.
Yes. Spotify is easy. All you have to do is a rating. Apple Podcasts, go ahead and write a little description for us, okay? Help us out. Help sisters out, okay?
Right. Because listen, like, truthfully, if you've taken care of yourself, if you're doing your self-care and you get your friend to do your self-care and then her friend does her self-care, like these jobs are going to respect the self-care more.
Yes. Yes, they are.
That's how you change culture.
That's how you do it. All right. So, Ki,
Mm.
I want you to take care.
Ki Kiki,
Yes.
you take care. Acting like you was acting. Go on, girl. Take care. Bye, y'all. We love y'all. Thank you for listening. See you next week.
We'll talk to y'all next week. Bye.